The Lord be with you. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Luke. Since many have undertaken to compile a narrative of the events that have been fulfilled among us, just as those who were eyewitnesses from the beginning and ministers of the word have handed them down to us, I too have decided, after investigating everything accurately anew, to write it down in an orderly sequence for you, most excellent Theophilus, so that you may realize the certainty of the teachings you have received. Jesus returned to Galilee in the power of the Spirit, and news of him spread throughout the whole region. He taught in their synagogues and was praised by all. He came to Nazareth, where he had grown up, and went according to his custom into the synagogue on the Sabbath day. He stood up to read and was handed a scroll of the prophet Isaiah. He unrolled the scroll and found the passage where it was written, "The Spirit of the Lord is upon me, because he has anointed me to bring glad tidings to the poor. He has sent me to proclaim liberty to captives and recovery of sight to the blind, to let the oppressed go free, and to proclaim a year acceptable to the Lord." Rolling up the scroll, he handed it back to the attendant and sat down, and the eyes of all in the synagogue looked intently at him. He said to them, "Today, this scripture passage is fulfilled in your hearing." The Gospel of the Lord. So suppose there was a blind man, and Jesus is passing by, and all of the friends of the blind man say, "This is terrific. You're blind. He can heal the blind. Wow." And then the blind man says, "Well, I'm not sure if I'm really blind. I mean, I've heard a lot of people have trouble with their prescriptions, and I don't really know if I need Jesus to heal me." And Jesus Christ walks by. His friends say, "What are you doing?" We might say to that blind man, "What are you doing?" And yet here at this Mass, that same Jesus is walking by. He's here. And he's here for you and for me. What you gonna do about it? As a priest, I meet, of course, talk with people, hear confessions with people. And many times, many Catholics don't seem to know what's going on inside them. Don't seem to understand what goes on in their heart and their souls. They are strangers to themselves. And they can show up at church, and we can say all this blah blah, Jesus is here, Holy Communion, real presence, and it's as if they don't get a word of it. St. Teresa of Avila said the first step in spiritual growth is to understand yourself, and to understand yourself truly. Do you understand what's going on inside you? I meet parents whose kids are finally out of the house, they're off to college. For the first time, they're empty nesters. And there they are after having been so devoted to their children for all these years. And now they ask themselves, what am I supposed to do now? I've been totally devoted to these children. Now they're gone. Of course, they're still my children. They'll still stop by and visit and all that. But what am I supposed to do with my life? Do I just go, okay, finally, the chance to spend more money on myself, the chance to do what I feel like doing? What is What is the Lord wanting to do with that mother and that father? I meet some older people. There they are, they're 75 years old, and they have no idea what God is doing or wants to do in their souls. They'll say, oh, I guess I'm okay. Just a regular person. I'm sort of like everybody else. I guess I cuss a little bit more than I used to, and I can be mean towards the wife and all, but they have no idea. And how about our young people, our teenagers? All kinds of things are happening in their lives. Very busy, very active. Boom, boom, boom. People are drawing them this way. Influences are going that way. And even though those teenagers look cool and look together and look like they've got all kinds of things going on, in the middle of them, they have no idea what their life is about. I guess I got to get to college. I guess I got to play sports next season. And Jesus Christ is walking past them here at Mass. St. Augustine said it even more directly. He said, the doctor cannot heal someone until the person goes to the doctor to be healed. And we come here to Mass. And what do we expect from God out of this whole thing? Do we think, oh, I'm missing the whole first half of the NFC Championship? Don't worry. We saw with the AFC Championship, it all comes down to the last attempt. You won't miss a thing. But don't miss a thing indeed. Jesus Christ is walking past you today. And he wants to enlighten you. You go, what? He wants to enlighten you. We are walking through this earth sometimes as if we don't even know what God is trying to do in our souls. And that's the first step. How can you expect to grow spiritually if you don't even know what you're doing? Do you realize that many people, when they come to confessions, they don't actually have a classic confession. Bless me, Father, for I have sinned. I was mean to my sister, blah, blah, blah. For many people, when they come to confession, they're coming because they're trying to sort things out. There's this, and what's going on? What's going on underneath it? What's going on with all of that? And that is an excellent thing to do. This is the year of mercy. In fact, the Pope has asked us to have nonstop confessions. We'll be doing it down at the cathedral later on in Lent, 24 hours, just round about. And there's a beauty to that because for some of us, we need to sort things out. Our life is a mess, or at least our life is just rushing past us. And Jesus is walking past you here at Mass tonight. He wants to touch you. He wants to illuminate your soul. He wants you to give a next step. I've quoted it before, but what a beautiful hymn by Blessed John Henry Newman, Lead Kindly Light. And Newman says, using the image of walking through a dark forest with a little lantern, he says, Lord, I don't need to see the whole path, but if you would just give me enough light to see the next step. If that's you, whether you're a mother, a father, single person, a senior citizen, a teenager, if you need light for the next step, Jesus Christ has it for you right here, right now. He is walking past, just like he walked past the blind man. And he is walking past for you.